Would like to call the order of the Pleasant Grove City Council this evening on December 1 of 2020. And welcome all of the council members who are here and present. And especially we welcome Brent back this evening from, we missed him. Be given by our public, our recreation, our parks director, and after which we'll have our Turner Wilkins, our recreation director, give us the opening remarks. So Dion, would you come forward?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you, Dion and Turner. Now I'd like to have a motion for approval of tonight's meeting agenda. I don't think there's any changes we have to it.
Yeah, no changes. Just a reminder, we have a executive session tonight.
Mayor, make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Anderson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now move on to our open session this evening and open it up to anyone who'd like to come forward and address the council this evening.
Fire department wanted to do a little bit of a presentation. So
Okay.
we're going to have them do it in open session here.
Mayor, Council, thank you for giving us your time. I had the officer.
Do you want to turn that on? Hit that button there.
There it goes, okay. Officer Skylar Winder and Corporal, Corporal. Yeah. And then Sergeant James Oliver here. I'd like to just congratulate these guys and recognize them for a job they did on one of our medical calls, what they did. Quick history real quick on one of the calls we did about a month ago, October 31st. We had a call come in on a 10-year-old boy that was not breathing and unconscious and no heart rate, apparently. Seems kind of strange because we go on a lot of calls and the 10-year-old, that's just not a normal call. So you kind of are thinking in the back of your mind, okay, is this really what it is? But as the officers arrived, talking to Captain Hardy that was on scene that day, the officers beat us there, which they do a lot of the time because they're already out, which is great. But they had recognized what was going on and realized that he was in cardiac arrest, no heart rate, not breathing, and they started CPR right away, which in a case like that is extremely helpful. CPR really is about 40%, maybe if you're lucky, of your normal heart rate. And so quick onset CPR, recognizing that early and doing that can make the huge difference, and especially something like this. They didn't realize this young boy had some kind of congenital heart history that they didn't realize. Standing in the room upstairs, literally just fell down the ground, just face first, right there. So with what they've done, which probably made a huge difference in the outcome of this patient, we want to recognize them and congratulate them for what they've done. This patient actually was out of the hospital within a couple days. He only spent probably 2 days, I think, at the most. Wow. And he actually came by our firehouse within that week, 5 days or so. Stopped by and talked to the crew that showed up on the call. So awesome kid. Parents were great. His parents were actually out of town, and he was at his uncle's house, staying at his uncle's house.
No way.
for the weekend, whatever it was. And so,
So did the family or the patient know that he had the heart?
no, they really, he had, from what I gather, he had a history. They checked on something that happened a number of years before, but they didn't pick up on it. They looked at something else, didn't realize it, but this happened, and yeah, it was, something that they caught on to, caught him. And so, but like I say, recognize these guys and give them a Chiefs coin from Chief Thomas. Since he's not here, I'm kind of representing Chief Thomas.
He's not here, you're going to give them all away.
I can't take credit for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so these guys are, I think we got some great officers here. They're great to work with, and stuff like this happens all the time. And, you can't thank them enough for doing things like that, so.
Oh,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Well, thank you,
Well
guys.
done.
Well done.
Thanks, Drew.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward and?
Yeah.
No. We're just glad somebody had the seats on the back row. So thank you guys for coming in. With that, we see no one else approaching the podium here. We'll now close our open session and bring it back up here in the front and move to our next item, which is number 6, our consent items for this evening, which have been outlined in your agenda, and consent items A through H. And I would ask for a motion for our consent items this evening.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to our, we have no board, commission, or committee appointments or presentations this evening, so we'll move to our only public hearing this evening on item number 9, a public hearing to consider for adoption Resolution 2020-063, adjusting and amending the revenues and expenditures of the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget. Director Roy.
Good evening. We talked about these a couple of weeks ago. We're just making it formal so I can put the budget. I'm just going to kind of do an overview. We are actually using the COVID monies that we received from the federal government back in July. And so the first one, I did it in 2 sections just for logistics of how I have to do the budget. But the first one is for almost $1.3 million. And attachment A just shows what we're doing with those dollars. Scott talked a little bit about this earlier. The ambulance is on there. Pickleball restrooms was a big ticket item that's on there. And then working on the citywide security and the citywide fixture automation, and then the fire debt payment. That was some of the biggest things on there. We have a few other small things. And so those monies will come out of the CARES account or the COVID account and be moved into the capital improvement fund for the departments to spend. Attachment B is actually the hazard stipend, and that money will be transferred out of the COVID CARES money and into the different departments. So that's why you see on attachment B, it's all broke out. That's how much each department will get to cover that hazard stipend. So that's why you got the 2 attachments.
So any other questions for Denise right now before we open our public hearing? Okay, thank you. I'll now open our public hearing and ask anyone to come forward and who would like to address the council at this time. I see no one approaching, so we'll now close our public hearing and bring it back up to council for further discussion. There's no further discussion, and do we vote on the resolution now? And Kathy, I don't see resolution 2020-063.
Do you have a 6.5?
I've got 6.5.
Okay, that's what it is.
Okay. Okay. So is it 6.3 or 6.5? 6.5. Okay.
So when we make that motion, we
So
just
when-
adjust that?
So, yes, make that clear on that. So at this time, I ask for a motion.
And Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2020-065, adjusting and amending the revenues and expenditures of the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Williams. This will be a roll call vote. And we'll start off with Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Takes care of all of our public hearings this evening. We'll now move to our action items that are ready for vote, and we'll go to 10A, consider for adoption Resolution 2020-064, authorizing the mayor to sign a grant agreement with Utah County regarding the Communities and Care Coalition, providing funding for the programs to reduce substance abuse in the community and providing for an effective date. And we'll ask Tamara to come forward. We don't get to see you very often, so you're welcome to be here tonight.
Enjoy the company. Okay, Kyla, we did it. I'm so proud of us.
It's a crapshoot. Oh, that was much better said. Thank you.
Yeah, it feels like one. Christmas miracle. Okay, so just a little overview. We're talking about the 2021 e-cigarette, marijuana, and other drug prevention grant that we applied for as PG Cares. The state legislature passed SB 37. So they raised the legal age limit to 21 for e-cigarette and other nicotine products, and then they increased the tax by like 50%. It was an incredibly large amount.
Wow.
Yes. And in that tax increase, a lot of that money was earmarked for prevention work. So the state then kept some of the money, but also allocated some of that to the counties. And Utah County decided to take that and allocate it to different communities or coalitions or groups to use it down at the lower level. So we found out about this grant and we applied for it. The process was really intense and I learned a lot of things, but we did a lot of data collection. Right now we're mostly using the 2019 SHARP survey, so it's given out to our youth. It's a youth data collection survey. It's used nationwide. It's a really great tool that we have. The three main things that we are focusing on as a coalition that we've been worried about, there's a really low perception of risk for both prescription use and for vaping. Vaping is the number one thing that the kids are doing these days. Nearly 85% of kids using tobacco for the first time used a vape. And these are Pleasant Grove statistics, by the way. So just community statistics. Perception right now in the community for the youth is that taking a prescription pill is less dangerous than cigarettes or alcohol. And we know that's not true. It's the most deadly form of substance abuse anyone can use is a prescription pill. And so that was kind of the drug situation. Problems within the family unit. So there are different domains that we pay attention to, but the family domain was pretty big with our numbers. 31% of youth reported a significant family conflict in their home. That's a number of questions that are asked about their home environment, what kind of relationship they have with their siblings and parents. So we have a good chunk of youth experiencing family conflict, at least in their own minds, which their reality is what leads them to make the decisions that they make. So that's important. And 30% of the kids let us know that parental attitudes favorable to antisocial behavior. That's a super sciencey way to say they don't think their parents care if they're bullying or stealing or vandalism or using substances. So antisocial behavior is essentially like destructive behavior. It's not being shy or something like that. So those were kind of two big things that stuck out to us. And then there's the individual and peer domain. So that's kind of the personal struggles. A lot of our statistics are really similar to like statewide statistics in Pleasant Grove, but our depressive symptoms rates are higher than the state. So 8th graders reported 65% of them are struggling with at least moderate depressive symptoms. 77% of 12th graders are struggling. 18% of our youth are engaging in self-harming behaviors, and 15% of our 8th grade population either made a plan or attempted suicide last year. So we have some issues. And after we went through some of this data, we're still going to be gathering data. We're going to be working with the police department to get some more. We chose to focus on those 3 things for our grant. So the first part of the grant focuses on that drug education aspect. We want to do an anti-drug campaign. Right now, the tobacco industry is putting millions and millions and probably billions of dollars into getting kids to vape. Some things have been done on a federal level, but not much. So we did write in some money for some professionally marketing expertise to kind of combat some of the marketing that's being done towards these kids and all their lovely flavors of vape. You know, they don't think it's bad because it tastes like grape.
It's a fruit.
It's a fruit. So we have quite a bit of that money to get some professional help to raise awareness in an education campaign for families in our community. The county and the state are also doing some campaigns, so we can also piggyback off of anything that they're doing and bring it here as well. We have access to all of their information and materials. We will be working with the Pleasant Grove Police Department to install vape sensors in the junior high and high school and rec center bathrooms. Right now, there's no way to know if anyone's vaping because it doesn't smell, and that's kind of a big place where it's happening. Kids are introducing it to other kids at school. And then we're going to work with youth court and other youth in the community to offer education and opportunities for the youth that do get caught. I mean, with the vaping sensors, our numbers are going to go pretty high for just a minute till the kids realize they're there and get smart, probably. But I was talking to Lisa Young and going through youth court and offering a lot more educational opportunities, especially with things like vaping, where there's not a lot of information out there right now. We have a lot of money to put towards that as well. Part of that money also, and I didn't put it on here, but I've talked a little bit with the police and the fire department about using some of that money for our first responders, for mental health support and for training for them, as a lot of this is new for them to be tackling as well. So there's a few $1,000s in there for some trainings that have been requested. Carl and I have been looking into some of those. So that's a big chunk of money. The vape sensors are the biggest chunk of that money. They're $1,000 each. So that's $35-ish thousand. The next one is kind of dealing with the family issues that we've been having. The Guiding Good Choices program is one of the top-rated parenting programs, family programs in the nation. It's a 5-week parenting workshop, and it helps parents understand rules and bonding and promoting healthy behaviors. We could talk about it for hours, but there's your brief overview. There's some training costs involved, but once we get the trainings done, the state's actually going to be offering some severely discounted trainings, so we can train facilitators here in Pleasant Grove and offer this class on a regular basis in our community. There's a lot of money built into that, but the sustainability of the program is actually not all that expensive. So that was one of the big things with the grant, is choosing programs that were sustainable. And then the Positive Action Program focuses on those kids. It's an early education program that focuses on social and emotional learning for elementary school age, helping them regulate emotions and awareness, a lot of what's missing in this entire generation of humans, including the adults. No offense. We have some.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
Because you went straight to bullets and guns when she was talking about bullet journaling. I have concerns.
All right. Enough said. I'm with you.
Good job. Resolve the COVID.
So, and we're working with Alpine School District on that. They're actually implementing a social emotional learning curriculum. So if what we're doing ends up being duplicative, we'll still be using that money for an early education program, but that might change. And the people at the county that I'm working with on the grant are awesome. I have to do a lot of really intense reporting. Obviously, those budgets are broken out into much greater detail and everything has to be tracked. But that is the basics of the grant and what we'll be using the money for. So if anyone has any questions, I am happy to answer them.
Council?
No, excellent job.
Yeah, great job.
You're like the perfect person for this position, and so
Yeah.
thank you, because this is a lot of work to get these numbers and the stats, because we have to justify that to get the money, and so thank you for the time and effort. You can tell you're passionate about it, and I think it's awesome. Thank you.
And
It's a
Tamara,
huge help.
people actually go to college to learn how to write grants.
Well, that would have been nice for me to learn in college, but I learned it in 3 days when I was writing this grant, so it was fun.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Good
Tamara.
job.
Thanks.
Thank
It's a
you.
huge
Thank you.
benefit for our community to have you.
I think there's like a degree in grant writing, isn't there? I'm not joking.
Council, if there's no other questions, I'll ask for if none, we'll ask for a motion on resolution number 2020-064.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of 2020-64, authorizing the mayor to sign a grant agreement with Utah County regarding the Communities That Care Coalition, providing funding for programs to reduce substance abuse in the community and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion by Councilman Jensen again. Do I have a
Second. Second.
We had to let,
Second by Councilmember Bullock. This will be a roll call vote, and we'll start out with Councilmember Anderson,
yes,
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
and Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Now move on to our next item, our 10C, consider for adoption 10B, consider for awarding Silver Spur Construction the Mill Ditch Project in the amount of $1,063,294.50, and authorize the mayor to sign the notice of award and authorize the mayor to sign the notice to proceed, an agreement upon receipt and approval of the final contract documents. Director.
Mayor, Council, tonight we're before you with a notice of award recommendation for the Mill Ditch project. If you'll remember, that project is installing about 3,000 feet of pipe from the American Fork Canyon down the mill ditch through an area where we lose a lot of water. So this will help our ability to bring more water into our city and into our systems. This project, there's just to be clear, the amount that we're recommending for award tonight is the 1 million, let me get to the exact number here. So 1,063,294.50. Of that, there's 299,145.50 that is a culinary water line that will be installed adjacent to the pipeline that we are installing by American Fork City. They have a water line in the state highway there that will be brought down the same ditch alignment. It currently goes right through the middle of Cedar Hills Golf Course. And rather than replacing it down the fairway, they felt that they should get that out of the fairway and replace it down the ditch alignment and then bring it into their tanks that are at the south end of the project. So as part of this award tonight, American Fork City Council meeting will be meeting. They meet on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, so they're meeting next Tuesday. And they will be approving at that meeting a reimbursement agreement that agrees to reimburse Pleasant Grove City for their portion of this project. So tonight, the notice of award would be for the full amount of the project, including American Fork's portion of the project, and conditional upon them approving to reimburse Pleasant Grove City for that portion next week. And then at that point, we'll get the mayor's signature on the notice of award so that the contractor can move forward on the project. We will be seeing a reimbursement agreement that they're approving next week on the 15th to kind of finalize the agreement between us and American Fork for reimbursement. There's also an agreement with NRCS. If you remember, we received a 75% grant on this project. So NRCS is funding 75% of this project for us to get it piped, which is a great benefit for us as well. So. But we recommend award of this project to Silver Spur Construction. There were 11 contractors that bid on this project. We had a great turnout for the number of bids received, and I feel like we got a great bid price. So it'll be a fast project. It will be done by April 1st. So
wow.
We have about 3.5 months to get this thing done. It'll be a quick one. So
What do you contribute? we're so far below the engineer's estimate by
Yeah,
pretty good percentage points there.
Yeah, they're 36% below the engineer's opinion of cost on this project. I think it's due to the timing. Obviously, we have a contractor that's very hungry to really get some winter work done. It's also a pretty, it's off the road, off the travel way, so it is a project that you can get in and get a lot of work done fairly quick. So we feel like we got a good bid. We feel like that the contractor's committed to their costs on this, and we feel like we should move forward with it. So, but we're good on our budgets, so with where we anticipated, what funding we've got within RCS, all of that obviously came in really well for us. So,
Any other questions, council?
I just wonder what the 50 cents is for.
that was for the pop that we were going to give them at the pre-bid meeting, pre-construction meeting. So, no. That's what their amount was.
Good job, Marty. Good job. Oh, my God.
No, that's just what their bid amount was. So we just awarded what they asked for. So they were the low bidder.
Thank you, Marty. Council, if there's no other questions, I ask for a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion that we award Silver Spur Construction the Mill Ditch Project in the amount of $1,063,294.50, and authorize the mayor to sign the notice of award, and authorize the mayor to sign the notice to proceed and the agreement upon receipt and approval of final contract documents.
I have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lamone, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, does that need to be in it? Okay. Do you want the whole
Okay.
thing over again, or just an addendum? Okay, Mayor, I'd like to amend that motion and include that this is also contingent on the approval of the American Fork Council meeting next week for our portion.
Okay.
We're just trying to, the reason why the condition's there is because we're awarding the whole amount, but we don't want the contractor,
This amount,
for some reason, American Fork doesn't approve their part, we don't want the contractor to hold us to the whole $1 million.
Right.
got it?
That's why we're asking for it.
Okay, we have amended a motion, and we still have a motion and a second. All in favor of the amended motion, say yay.
Yay?
Aye.
Yay?
Yay. Any
yay.
nays? No nays? Motion carries. Thank you. Now move to 10C, to consider for adoption ordinance 2020-26, setting the time and place for the regular meetings of the Pleasant Grove City Council, boards, commissions, and committee meetings of the Pleasant Grove City for the year 2021, providing for an effective date. General Counsel.
Mayor and council, I just noticed that Kathy very sneakily made me the presenter on this.
Sneakily.
Sneakily.
It's a legal term.
Yes.
Yeah, you go to a
Yeah,
lot,
it's
years
a
of law school to
defined
get that one in.
term. Yeah. I paid a lot of money to learn that one.
Right.
Every year, we are required by state statute to give public notice of what our intended schedule is for the upcoming year for all of those boards and commissions that are under the Open and Public Meetings Act. So that's what the resolution is. You have the tentative schedule there before you. That doesn't mean that we can't have additions or changes as the year goes on, as long as we provide proper notice for any changes. So I don't know if you have any questions about what's being proposed, but I think it's outlined in the attachment to the resolution.
Yeah, that's great.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
If none, I'd ask a motion on ordinance number 2020-26.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt 2020-26, setting the time and place of regular meetings for the city council, boards, commissions, and committee meetings of the Pleasant Grove City for the year 2021, and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion by Councilmember Williams. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Jensen. And we will roll call this one again. And if I can find my Okay, we'll go down to Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
and Councilmember Anderson.
No, Williams.
Oh, Williams, excuse
I
me.
did.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. You already did, so excuse me.
Yes.
She thinks she
I try to do
controls
that
it.
often.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I have done it before, huh, Judge?
Okay. We'll now move to 10, to item number 11, items for discussion, continued from our work session this evening. And I think we've got everything covered, except we haven't heard from Marty tonight on.
Thank you.
Oh, bets?
Things are going well, as you can see from your consent agenda. There's 6 pay requests on that from different contracts that are getting finished up, most of them. A few little things here and there to finish up on some final punch list items. There were a few questions asked with regards to 1300 West there at the tie-in to State Street. And there were some issues still with Rocky Mountain Power and getting the pole out of the way, and we had to make some quick decisions with regards to whether or not we wanted that road paved before the weather turned. And so we were able to work with the contractor and the developer that were doing that project to do some temporary traffic control devices so that we could keep the pole. The pole had to stay there, but we wanted to get the road paved so we could open it back up to full traffic and not have issues during the winter months. And so we were told about a week and a half ago that Rocky Mountain Power is planning to come in the next week. They said December 7th, but let's say the next week or two to get the pole relocated. Once that happens, we will get probably a temporary pave down so that we can open the full road up. And obviously the pole will be out of the way. It'll be a normal road till spring. And then we'll get in and get it constructed properly in that little area where the pole is. And so that's what's happened there. If you get any questions, it's just a matter of we needed to get that road open back up, it paved, rather than leaving it dirt for the winter and trying to deal with that through the winter. So
Marty,
yes,
I have a chainsaw if you want to borrow it.
yeah, we had many offers from contractors with track hose and things that would
Yes.
work really well too, and but that does run a risk at doing that. So they chose not to do it. But yes, thank you, Brent, for offering that.
Yeah, just watching out for you.
Just an update quickly, we do have, as far as the water situation, we are currently working on our agreement that we would bring an online chlorine analyzer up at the Monson tanks, and we're working on getting that installed here this month. That our requirement for the state was to have it in by the end of the year. And so we are working on that. We're getting close to having that installed. And then we've also got the springs are all turned back in, everything's functioning, and no concerns that we're seeing in the system right now. So just a quick update on that. And just looking forward to next year. We've got working on about 8 or 9 projects today that we're getting started design on for next construction season. So
Wow.
busy times.
Very good.
What would you say your big road project is next year? You're really excited for?
That's a great question, Eric. We were going over our budgets. The biggest one that we have that we funded with the water line is 1100 North, and this is the
1100
rest
North?
of 1100 North from 700 East up
That'd be
to
so nice.
11. So that is the one big project. What we're trying to do right now is get an evaluation from an engineering firm to come and tell us what the pavement is like. It's obviously terrible as a road, but that road's been there for 30 or 40 years, and so we want to get a good pavement recommendation so that we know what we're doing there, and then we'll kind of figure that out in the budget. That is the tricky part right now. It's just like, okay, how much budget do I have for the streets? Where am I at? Where am I falling out from this year? And we're in that process right now of trying to determine next year's streets projects, but that is one that the water line's already been designed. And so we're just trying to figure out what the right road reconstruction method is, and we'll be moving on that.
And that would go from the canal, or where the road work ended, just above the canal, up to where?
So essentially, the development where they have the medians.
Mahogany Ridge.
Mahogany Ridge, that's essentially where that project was planned to. Because we have good, really,
Right.
it's a combined project, right? We're joining a water line project and a streets project together. And that's where the water line is needing to be replaced as well, just because
Okay.
we keep having leaks and problems in that area. So. but
Good
yeah.
one to have done.
Yes,
Okay, thank
Okay.
you, Marty.
thank you.
Denise, do you have anything else for us this evening? Kathy? Tina?
Just to report that our new legal assistant will be starting this Thursday on the 4th, 3rd, on the 3rd. And that's it. Other than that, we're just busy.
There was somebody that was assisting, is that the one that was,
So we've had a temporary one that actually has another full-time job. So she's been coming in after hours and on Saturdays to
that's the one I've seen
do
there.
the filing. Yeah, her name is Melody. And so she's going to spend a day with the new one that we just hired, kind of helping her transition, and then she'll be done.
See, our last one, where did she
Just quit.
She just quit?
She just quit. She didn't need to work anymore, and they had just bought a new house, and
Well, that's called life.
Yeah.
So, Kyler? What time's the Kansas game start?
7:30, we got plenty of time.
Okay, we're good there, so, all right. Well, Scott, we'll turn time over to you for anything and for our next council meeting.
Maybe it'll turn out better than the BYU game this afternoon. All I have is, we have the doodle poll that I emailed to you for our retreat.
I finished it.
Diana, Eric, and Todd are the winners. I think Todd was the winner. He was the
Sid,
first
it's an
one.
email.
So,
You heard Todd was the winner.
Todd was the first one
Dang
in.
it, I missed that, I was.
Well, he was the first council member. I think we had some staff that
You
got in
did have
first.
staff, yep.
But I need the three of you. I'd like to have the date figured out by the end of this week so we can get it in our calendars. We don't schedule over it. So if the mayor, Sid, and Brent, if you guys could get that done, that'd be awesome. Everything else I have is executive session.
Okay.
Just get this little notification.
What do we have for our December 15th meeting?
Well, for trying not to have a meeting, we've ended up with a few things here. So let me pull it up. We have UDOT that's asked, they want to come and give us an update on the State Street project, the one that was, I think, going to be done this year, or 2019, 2020, that's been postponed again. So they'll come in and tell us what the latest is on that. Also, and this isn't necessarily on the agenda just yet, but we'll have a follow-up on our discussion on the capital funding in the work session. And then items 9A and B are changing code for drainage standards, for storm drain, and for water management basins, which are state changes, which we are mandated to change as cities, which just affect the development in our community for people developing. There's a few different rules they have to follow. Items 10A and B are kind of follow-up or hand-in-hand with those in regards to changes to our standard specs and our development standards. Item C is a subdivision plat that we're hoping is ready. That we're still, the developer and the property owner are still working through some issues regarding this. This is for a future development on the Close to My Heart property, which is in process of being sold. I think,
it's a piece of the Close to My Heart. So Close to My Heart's still gonna be there.
Yeah.
And then they're selling the rest.
yes, thank you. So they own a bunch of acreage out there, so. There's a developer that's under contract, and so they're working through their entitlement process. This is one of the things that they need to do. Item D is a new restaurant coming into town, which I believe Daniel talked about a week or a month or so ago. Brooks Brothers? Is that what it's called? Dutch Brothers. That's it. Brooks Brothers is.
Well, I don't know what
It's a coffee place. Denise is aware. And they're quite popular. There's one in Provo that made headlines the other day that they were getting one. So they're taking the spot that Captain D's was going to do that seafood restaurant. So Captain D's is sold. Dutch Brothers will be coming in. So this will be the site plan for that. Item E is a subdivision plat for Muirfield Estates, 3300 North, 1450 West. This has been platted before. They've made some changes, so they're just resubmitting that. And then item F is a follow-up to what Marty was talking about earlier today, our Mill Ditch Development Agreement with American Fork City. So we got a few things. There might be a couple more things that end up on that agenda before we're all said and done, but we'll have a full-fledged work session and city council meeting on the 15th.
Okay, thank you. Council, Stid, do you have anything this evening?
Thanks for last night. That was really fun. There wasn't a lot of people, but there was Christmas spirit. So it was really fun. Thanks to everyone who participated and helped with that. And Parks for the lights. It's beautiful.
It is. I love driving around that corner and just seeing it. It's just magical.
Thank you.
Councilmember Jensen.
Tomorrow, if you'd like to come, there's 2 Pleasant Grove businesses that are going to be awarded the Excellence in Business of the Month.
Ooh.
So Taco Amigo,
Oh, yay.
9:30, if you can make it. And then as soon as that's done, within 10, 15 minutes, then we're booking it over to Central Bank.
And in the central bank, so,
Yep, Steve Patton.
okay.
9:30?
9:30 and then 9:45-ish.
Thank you. Diana.
No, just very grateful. Everybody's working so hard.
Todd? Nope, thank you. Brent?
Nope, good to be here.
Okay, I have one
We're
item,
glad
but
you're here.
I just wanted to, and I was going to mention at the last council meeting, because that's when it was the week before the last council meeting. I attended an event at the new Central Elementary at the Space Center.
Oh, wow.
And wow, it's
Wow.
quite a place. And what the donors did and everything, we can be proud to have that in Pleasant Grove. And they have, the district has offered us as a council to, and even as our administrative staff to come after COVID when we can associate
Yes.
and do a session at the Space Center.
Wow.
That'd be great.
So, anyway.
All my kids have worked it, and I've never gotten to go. That'll be
Well,
amazing.
you would, what they've done down there, wow, and the planetarium, just to sit back and, so they'll give us a great thing, but we'll give a little time. They'll be, they're kind of giving it some time before they have a grand opening. Hopefully the restrictions will be off, maybe later in the spring or whatever, for the school dedication of the school.
Love it.
Okay?
Thrilled for that
So we'll look forward to
opportunity.
doing that. So,
Yep.
with that, we do have an item for a closed session tonight, discuss the sale of real property. So we'll be going into closed session. So I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn and go to closed session, after which we will re-adjourn, but we will not make any votes or decisions afterwards. So we'll
So moved.
we have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor of going to closed session, say aye.
Aye.
We're now adjourned.